Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to use local scope and functions. Variables which are declared within a function as well as the function parameters have local scope. That means they are only visible within the function. Here is a function myTest with a local variable called a loc. Function myTest variable loc is equal to foo. Console log loc. So what they're saying is they're setting this here. They're setting a local variable to foo, and then they're logging it out in the function. And then they're saying myTest. Here they're calling the function, so we're actually implementing this. So first off, we're running down this thing. We set the function in the computer knowledge, and then we call the function, which means we say do this. And so here we do it, which means it's in the local function. It's going to log out loc, which will come out as foo. And then finally, we're going to console log loc, but it's going to say loc is not defined. Why? Because loc is inside of this function. This is actually a pretty good way of saying it, even though I would have named the variables different. In computer programming, everybody does this foo bar thing, which is just ludicrous, and a lot of people do it. You'll come across it a lot. Loc is not defined outside the function. What does that mean? Here, loc is not defined because loc is defined within the function. So we want to declare a local variable called myvar, which is inside my local scope. Run the test and then follow the instructions commented out in the editor. Refreshing the page may help if you get stuck. Okay, so my local scope. Use strict. You shouldn't need to edit this line. I don't remember exactly what this means. This is a JavaScript guy person. Console log myvar. My local scope. So we want to run this. We want to declare local. We want to declare anything. So myvar. Good day, mate. So here I'm declaring myvar and I'm making it equal to the string of g'day, mate. And then we're going to console log that out. I think if you were to, and then so my local scope is actually being called here. So what we're doing is we're running down this program. We're setting my local scope. Inside of here, we're setting a local variable, and then we're logging that variable as part of this function. And then here we're calling it. And then here, you're seeing it show up. If I were to comment this out, you'll see nothing shows up. So it's here where I'm declaring what is read to the console. And then run and check the console. So basically it just got ran and it was checked. Myvar is not defined outside of the local scope. So here they're saying myvar, which is this variable, is not showing up. And as you can see here, it's not showing up. I could make a string here that would be like myvar, which would like point out. Wow. Now remove the console log line to pass the test. Did they mean this one? No. This guy. Anyways, as you can see, I've just commented this code out as a way to say now remove the console log. By removing it, I've just commented it out, which means JavaScript can't see it, and that causes the test to pass. So this is how you pass the test. You just set your variable could be equal to anything too. You could make it equal to 2. It just has to be. It could be equal to an array, and it would still pass. It could be equal to a object, you know, and it would still pass. So yeah, this is kind of a weird way to describe scope. Let's say my name. So I've just created a function called my name, right? And inside of there, I'm going to say var last name is equal to Robinson. I'm going to make it equal to a string of Robinson. First name is equal to Ian. I should be adding semicolons on here all the time. It seems unimportant, but it's always good to try to write your code as elegantly as possible. And so console.log. So what I could do is I can console log first name And now here I can, what I can do is call the function. So the computer's rendering my name. It's memorizing this function in here. And then, so what I want to do is I want to call this function. And so it actually renders this. And you see it renders my full name here. So what this is doing now is it's calling this function and then it's assigning these here. But if I were to console.log my last name, and then here I put last name as a string to kind of point to that. Because last name isn't, it's just showing up as undefined is what I'm thinking. It's not showing up. Okay, so here's what's happening here. If I just console log last name, it doesn't show up. But because I'm console logging a variable which doesn't exist called last name, it's actually just causing an error, so it's not console logging here. Man, this is a tough one to describe. It's tough to teach what is going on in this, like why they try to get us to do this. Basically, the idea is that you have variables within scope. The scope is in the thing, and I'd say stick with it. This is the way to pass this test. The idea is that variables that are described within functions are not available outside of functions. That's the best way for me to think of how to describe that right now. Hope this helped. We'll see you in the next lesson.